welcome to another episode of Hawk Talk. I have here with me today Myra Klein. Myra, thank you very, very much for coming in.
Yes, thank you for having me, Joel.
Absolutely. Now, moving forward, as far as I know, you are a art educator and a muralist. So what is a muralist? What is that?
Yes. So I paint murals.
Really?
Yes, I love painting murals. That is something that during the summer, especially and stuff, we're kind of gearing up and we're at the end of school right now and stuff, and so I'm kind of gearing up for my summer activities and stuff. And I've got about 6 murals that I'll be doing this summer and stuff across the state of North Dakota. So yes.
So are you doing murals almost yearly? Like what does that process look like?
Yep. And, I do offer my schools that I come and I serve as the artist in residence at different schools and stuff. And so I do offer them the opportunity to do a mural in their school. Oh, cool. One in the fall and one in the spring. It's very labor intensive and stuff when we do a mural like that in the school and stuff. But when I do my murals in the summer and stuff, I've done several, in the eastern side of the state. I've done a couple over, in the southwestern side of the state now and stuff. And I absolutely love going into these small communities and if they, for instance, I'm working with an ambulance squad right now up in Underwood, and they want me to come in and do a mural on their ambulance garage. And so that is in the works and stuff for this summer and stuff to go up and do. So, yeah.
So then how long have you been making murals so far?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I got to remember, when did I do my first one? I don't know. That would date me if I said no.
A while.
I probably about 10 years ago and stuff. I did my first mural.
You've really been putting in a lot of time.
Yep. Okay. And I love it. So
that's been a major part of your life. Obviously, it's your career. Yep. So then what are you doing here at the school? Because, you're helping our kids here with art, with the Artist in Residence program. Yes. What is all of that, if you could explain that?
Oh, the Artist in Residence program has been just awesome and stuff. I have so enjoyed my time here in Hettinger this year. The kids here have been amazing and stuff. So just in short and stuff, Artist in Residence programs are run kind of in a variety of different ways. When in years past, when I've taught as an artist in residence, I have gone in and done like, one time a year and stuff, come in on a Monday, taught Monday through Friday. And it's kind of a race when we do it like that. Yes, because we do a lot of projects very quickly, and stuff. Okay. And it's kind of a race when we do it like that and stuff. So, at the end of last year, at the end of the school year last year, I had reached out to Mr. Erickson and kind of was in preliminary talks with him and stuff. And I told him, I said, traditionally, this is how the Artist in Residence program is run. But I was going to be changing things up this year. And I totally revamped my Artist in Residence programs and my offerings to all of my schools. I have about 16 schools that I traveled to throughout the whole state this last school year. And I offered to those schools to have me come in one time a month. Okay. Do instruction for one day a month for their elementary. And if they wanted me to come in for their junior high and senior high kids, I would come in an additional day of the month, and do that. Oh, wow. But it was only one time a month. And I did that kind of for a variety of different reasons. It's a little bit slower paced. The kids are still getting all of that same exposure to all of the different art mediums that, I always offer in all of my classes and stuff. But it's a little bit slower paced. And I really like that. And you know what? My schools really jumped on board with that this year.
With that new process.
Yes, with the new thing of doing this once a month thing and stuff. And I, got some new schools this year and stuff. Everybody was just really excited and stuff for that once a month programming. It's something for the kids to really look forward to then once a month. It's a little bit more relaxed and stuff. Of course, like I said, they're still getting to do, actually, we've gotten to do more projects this year because I am coming in, once a month and stuff. And so, from September until May and stuff. So there's been an opportunity to do more projects and use all of those really fun art mediums and stuff that we've gotten to use this year. So Yeah.
It's really amazing that we're able to have things like this, because in the last, I'd say maybe 10, maybe more so years, Darren or Dave could probably say this before I could, but it really seems like art programs are struggling right now in schools, like self-run art programs.
Yeah.
So things like this, having something from the outside able to help supplement that and help fill that void is huge for the kids, especially obviously the elementary kids, because that's such a big part of their educational development. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and I was just going to say and stuff, that's why I got into doing this initially and stuff, is because, I'm from a small town originally.
Yeah.
We didn't have a lot of exposure to anything arts related, and stuff. So, and that's why I feel so passionate about going into small K through 12 schools throughout the state and running an artist in residence program in those schools and offering arts education to those students that normally just don't get anything. So.
That is amazing, because like as like you were saying, those smaller schools, they don't have those resources, and having the materials is expensive for schools. As things are moving forward, things are getting more expensive. So it's an awesome solution to have here for our school.
Thank you. Yep.
Absolutely. So moving on with our next question here. So what initially sparked your interest in art, and how did you nurture that passion over the last few odd years?
Yeah, well, so, like I said, when I was in school and stuff, and like I said, I actually graduated from Elgin and stuff.
Oh, nearby.
So,
okay, yeah.
Yep. My folks farm and ranch north of Burt. So, I'm kind of from the area and stuff here, okay? And, going to school in Elgin, like I said, we just didn't have a lot and stuff for arts exposure and stuff. And when I got out of school and started going to college and stuff, I took a ceramics class, and I fell in love with pottery. Oh my goodness, that was just my first initial spark, of something, more of a professional
like
thing,
a very serious attempt at creating something. Yeah.
And so I just loved it, and I just ran, from there and stuff, and I actually have a degree in art history.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
So, and I have a funny story about art history and stuff. If anybody ever wants to hear about that, I'm not sure your listeners do, but yeah, art history is my degree and stuff. But yeah, and then I just started doing. Actually, we lived in the eastern part of the state and stuff where we had an arts center that was really close to us, and I started teaching art classes there, and it just kind of developed from there. So. And
that just kept building, and then then you're moving to this more traveling kind of a situation, is what it sounds like.
Yes.
So do you go to locations that are really far from here, or do you try to stay in the Southwest area? What do you do?
So this is kind of funny too. I always have people ask me about this and stuff. I have a house in Mott. I live in Mott, and Mott is my home base. And I always say that when I'm in Mott, I kind of teach in the western half of the state. Okay. And then I have, some grown kids that live in Jamestown. And I lived in Jamestown, for a long period of time and stuff. And I was the education coordinator at the Arts Center in Jamestown. And so I have a lot of contacts and stuff over there. And when I teach in my eastern half schools, I stay in Jamestown. And so during the school year, I split about half of my time between my house and Mott and teaching those schools in the western half of the state. And then when I'm over in Jamestown, I teach the eastern half of the state.
So two home bases kind of covering
that. Except Mott is my technical home base.
It's your technical home. So if you had to give your address, it would be the Mott
That
location.
is my only address.
That's your only address. Awesome. So, also too, with that, speaking, when talking about your spark and your interest in art, can you share a pivotal moment or experience that influenced your decision? I know you were talking about, you had that pottery moment. Maybe go a little bit further into that.
So actually, when I was living in Jamestown and stuff, I was, like I said, I was the education coordinator there at the Arts Center and stuff, and I was teaching every day for the arts after school program. And, those were kids that were from the Jamestown community and stuff. And, but in those bigger schools and stuff, they have art teachers at the school. And so I really had a passion for reaching out to those small surrounding communities and stuff outside of Jamestown where they didn't have art. And so then I developed a program there and stuff where I was bringing those kids, those students into the art center, and we were doing classes there. Wow. And then that kind of, developed into, after doing that for a couple of years and stuff and having very successful program with doing that and stuff, then that developed into, me actually going out to those schools and doing some teaching and stuff.
So it just kept growing that way.
Yep.
And that I'm sure because you find that meaning and that purpose and that connection by instilling that excitement for art in youth.
Exactly. And that's where what it's all about and stuff. And that's why I love what I do.
That's fantastic. So speaking of that, speaking of the students, can you share any success stories or favorite projects that you've witnessed through your art programs?
Oh boy, there are so many and stuff. But I tell you what, the most excited that I always get, and I always try to give the kids, like yesterday when we were working and I was here working with the kids in Hettinger and stuff, and I had them do. A bookmark. We did a bookmark.
They have to make their own bookmark.
They have to make their own bookmark and stuff. And we use watercolor markers and stuff, which most kids, see, that's a little bit different art medium and stuff that most kids don't get to play around with. And that's what I like to bring in. I like to bring in, new and different things that they don't normally get to have exposure to. And
so things like crayons. We're probably not going to touch a lot of crayons.
No. Yeah. You're probably not going to see any crayons with Miss Myra's classes at all.
That's
and
wonderful,
stuff. So, yes. But anyway, so I had them make this bookmark. And then I talked to them a little bit about, here in Hettinger, we have the library. Yes. And you have an amazing library here.
We have an awesome library.
Yes.
Thank you.
And they have, a summer reading program and stuff at that library. She, the gal down there and stuff has summer activities for the kids. And I really encourage them and I challenge them to, check that out and stuff in their communities and stuff. But, here's this little bookmark that we're going to make in art class that I want them to use all summer for their summer reading. Yes. And then I also had them make artist trading cards yesterday. And so
what is an artist trading card?
Oh, and artist trading cards are so cool because I have the kids make two of them. All of the kids in grades K through 6 made 2 of them yesterday. Okay. And they can do whatever design they want. This isn't something that I'm telling them and stuff. I want you to draw a birch tree, or I want you to.
You don't define anything.
I don't define anything. I let them, and now they've been with me long enough because they've been with me monthly, this whole entire school year. So they kind of have developed their own, likes of what they want to create.
Gotcha.
And stuff. And so they put whatever they want to on these artist trading cards. Okay. And then I encourage them to go and talk to somebody that they don't normally talk to, not their best friend. We're not going to trade cards with our best friend here. Okay. That's not the idea. I want them to go and talk to and meet with somebody and stuff that they don't normally get to talk to. Maybe it's an underclassman. I told my 6th graders yesterday, I said, guys, I said, maybe it's a little 1st grader. Maybe you want to go and talk to a little 1st grader that you don't normally get to have interaction with and make a new friend and stuff by the end of the school year and trade your artist trading cards with them. And I told the kids they could trade them as many times as they want.
Oh, so it's an ongoing thing. It's not one trade.
No, we can just keep going with this and stuff. And I had one little girl, I have to share this. This was so cute yesterday and stuff. I had one little girl ask me, she goes, Miss Myra, she said, what kind of markers are those? And I said, I told her, and stuff, and she wrote it all down, and stuff. And she goes, and what kind of paper did we use? What kind of paper do we use for these? And I told her, and stuff, and she wrote it down. She goes, I'm going to tell my mom that we need to get some of these things, and I'm going to do a whole bunch of artist trading cards this summer. And they have a family reunion coming up this summer, and she wants to take it to her family reunion and do it with all of her little cousins and stuff at this family reunion. Isn't that cool?
Well, that's such a cool activity because what you're doing is you have the art, which is like half of it, and then the other half, it's like you're building connections and relationships.
Exactly.
And whether that's with people that you're already connected with, or like what you were doing at the school, building connections between the upper and the lower classmen in that level, that's so huge. We're actually trying to push that really hard. That's been becoming a big thing. So that's phenomenal that you were able to tie that in there.
And that's what I'm cool. That's what I'm all about when I go to all of my schools. I try to do that in all of my schools.
Building those relationships. That's awesome.
Very important.
That's very cool. So we have a couple more questions left.
Sure.
How do you encourage students to pursue art outside of the classroom? Now, it sounds like you've done it a little bit so far.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I have kids that ask me all the time. We did a clay project this year. The kids got to do a polymer clay project this year. And so, I always have little kids that ask me and stuff, about doing that at home and how would I get started with this, and stuff. Okay. And I always encourage them to, explore it later and stuff and do those projects and stuff. They can do these things at home too. So
they need to hear that more often than not, because they think like, oh, well, the person's not here, or like, I might not have the resources normally, but they need to hear that, where it's like, oh, well, I can just go do things. I can just go make things and go just figure it out.
Exactly.
That's wonderful.
Yep.
That's awesome. So another question that I had for you, which was kind of a last question here.
Sure.
What advice would you give to aspiring artists who are just starting their own journey in the world of art?
Wow. And that's an awesome question. That's one that I think about quite a bit, because I do have kids that'll come up to me and ask me about, how did you get to be an artist? How did you get and
because it's not a very clear, obvious path.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I always tell kids and stuff, just to not give up on their dreams of doing that. If that's really what they want to do, they can make it happen and stuff. And prime example. I'm a farm girl, and stuff from north of Burt, North Dakota,
Yeah.
And I grew up, I had 16 kids in my graduating class. And here I am, I'm living my dream and doing what I absolutely love. And it is possible and stuff to do those things and stuff. So I would just encourage somebody and stuff who wanted to do something like that to just not give up.
Just keep following.
You bet. And, here's the thing and stuff too, and we were talking about murals and stuff earlier. And when I go into communities and stuff, I'm very much so about, building relationships within those communities and stuff. You're going to see me and I've gotten very familiar with your everybody at the grocery store up here and stuff. I go shopping at your grocery store. I fill gas at the gas station, and stuff. And of course, I have to go shopping at Runnings, right? Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, but, it's just, and one thing always leads into another. I was in Underwood this year and stuff, and I did a residency there and stuff. And that's how that all evolved into me now going up and doing a mural for the ambulance garage up there and stuff, So it's all about building relationships and stuff. And something always leads into something else. So
basically just kind of having the courage to keep going and doing things and keep diving in, because other things are going to bloom from that.
Yep,
just
exactly.
That's wonderful.
Yep.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you very much for coming in and doing this podcast with us. We really, really appreciate it. And also, too, most importantly, thanks for coming in and doing this Artists in Residence with our kids.
Yes. And I'm looking forward to next year. We've already signed the contract and stuff for next year. So I'll be here once a month from September until May for next year and stuff. So I'm looking forward to it. Hettinger has the best kids. They're just awesome. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. And thank you for tuning in to this episode of Hawk Talk. Remember, you can listen to Hawk Talk anywhere that you get your podcast, whether that's Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, or of course, our YouTube channel. And have a great day.